Big news out of the NASCAR Truck Series this morning. We already have some more fallout after yesterday's breaking news. We're going to talk about that and a little bit more on today's episode. How's it going, everybody? My name is Eric and welcome back to Out of the Groove. Really didn't expect to have an episode up today, but I wake up this morning to more breaking news that has to do with the news we talked about yesterday. I'll just cut right to the chase. Yesterday it was suddenly revealed out of nowhere that Johnny Sauter was going to be removed from that number 21 GMS racing truck. It was a hot rumor yesterday, but it was confirmed this morning that Brett Moffitt, defending series champion, is going to be his replacement driving that truck for GMS. Although he's actually going to be in the number 24 truck, the 21 is going to be used as a part-time ride for some of their other drivers they have going through that team next year. But Brett Moffitt is technically officially the replacement for Johnny Sauter next year. This news really came out of nowhere. Let's talk about kind of what it means, and I want to go in a little more detail here because I have a lot of things to say. I kind of rushed. I kind of just told you guys what was happening yesterday. I didn't really give you my thoughts on it. Today I really want to give you my analysis of this whole situation. So you all remember that Brett Moffitt last year completely overachieved driving for Hattori Racing Enterprises in the 16 truck. They won 6 races and even won the Truck Series Championship out of nowhere. Last year that team faced financial issues throughout the season. At one point in the middle of the summer they thought they might have to close up mid-season because they didn't have enough sponsorship money, but they managed to put things together as they went and ultimately were able to run the full season and come out of nowhere to win the championship. It's a total Cinderella story last year. Great underdog tale. But unfortunately, the business side eventually did have to catch up with them, and they told Brett Moffitt at the end of this last season that they weren't going to be able to sign him unless he was able to bring in his own outside funding. And then just a few weeks ago, we got the confirmation that Brett Moffitt was being let go because presumably he didn't have the funding Hattori was looking for. Earlier this week, news broke that Hattori Racing Enterprises had found a driver to replace Brett Moffitt, so that ride was filled up now. But Brett Moffitt, until yesterday, was still a free agent. Looked like a defending Truck Series champion, wasn't going to have a ride to start the 2019 season. But then yesterday the story broke that Johnny Sauter, a recent champion of the Truck Series just 2 years ago, he won 6 races last year, it was suddenly revealed that he was being kicked out of his ride at GMS. And now we know Brett Moffitt is going to be his replacement. Now here's the thing I want to talk about, because this whole deal, it seems really shady. Before I get too far into it, I want to play this clip here from Johnny Sauter. He appeared on NASCAR XM radio yesterday, talking about this whole departure from GMS.
Obviously, the question at this point, first and foremost, what happened?
Well, obviously, I was down here at the race shop and basically just, sat down with Beam and he basically told me that we weren't racing this year. So basically came down to financial problems, I guess. So I think everybody knows that this sport is expensive, and I don't really bring any money to the table. So from the school where you got paid to race. So having said that, I think Moffitt's going in the truck from what they told me, and I don't know exactly anything more than that. They just told me that we weren't racing this year, and it was purely financial.
So from his side, it's a story we've heard all too often. Financial reasons keeping competitive drivers out of competitive cars. That's disappointing, though. Now, here's where I want to give my opinion on this issue. I didn't really get into this too much yesterday, but I'm shocked by how many people I'm seeing across social media, how many race fans I'm seeing celebrate this as a great opportunity for Brett Moffitt. And I feel like a lot of people are omitting the fact that Johnny Sauter is arguably the best driver in the Truck Series, and he just got completely screwed out of an opportunity to race next year. The timing of this whole deal is super shady and super uncomfortable for me. If GMS knew that they didn't want Johnny Sauter in that truck, let him know in November. Like, why wait until a month? We're a month away from the season, only a month away. Why wait until now to suddenly drop the hammer on this guy and tell him, hey, by the way, you're not racing for us next year, so good luck finding another job? Like, look at it from Johnny Sauter's perspective. You just won 6 races the year before. I tell you, he's probably the best driver in the Truck Series, at least the last couple of years. You just won 6 races, best driver this team has ever had, and they're gonna screw you like this. I mean, we're a month before the season. Like, where's Johnny Sauter gonna go? Like, most other truck teams have filled up their roster spots by now. He might be able to find an opening somewhere, but it's not as easy as it would have been a couple months ago. I don't understand the contract situation. I don't understand how GMS was allowed to do this. It really doesn't make sense to me, and I honestly feel really bad for Johnny Sauter. But I feel like I'm one of the only fans who read this news and actually felt bad. Like, I'm happy for Brett Moffitt. Don't get me wrong. He didn't deserve to be screwed out of a ride or to lose his ride over at Hattori, but it is funding. He's a young guy. He didn't have funding, and it is what it is. I don't feel any better that he screwed Johnny Sauter out of a ride. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy Brett Moffitt got another competitive opportunity. He's probably going to win races next year, might win the championship again. Great for him, he's a young driver with a promising future. Very excited for him. But can we all just take a step back and realize that in him, getting this opportunity, another championship caliber driver just got completely screwed. Like, everyone was so upset a couple months ago when Hattori Racing said, oh, we're not going to be able to keep you in the truck next year, Brett. Sorry, man. Everyone was upset. Oh, NASCAR's terrible. Competitive drivers aren't able to keep their rides because of money. This is what's wrong with the sport. All that type of stuff. But now here we are a month before the season starts, and the guy who won the championship 2 years ago, tied this for the series lead in wins last year, I'm telling you, probably the best driver in the truck series, just lost his ride. Out of nowhere. And nobody's talking about it like it's doomed for NASCAR, like it's a bad thing. Everyone seems like they're thrilled because at least Brett Moffitt got it. You know, at least Brett Moffitt's going to be in that seat. I don't know how people feel happy about this. Like, I feel just as bad as I did when Moffitt lost his ride. Like, Moffitt lost his ride for business reasons. I get it. It sucks. Terrible for him. But now Johnny Sauter's lost his ride for business reasons. And I think what GMS did to Johnny Sauter here is way worse. It's way sleazier, way more just screwy than what Hattori did to Brett Moffitt. Like, at least over there, Brett Moffitt knew for months that money was going to be an issue at the end of the season. Like, he had time to prepare for that. On the GMS side here, Johnny Sauter, up until just 2 days ago, assumed he was going to go race for a championship in a few weeks. Now he doesn't have a job. How can people sit there and like act like nothing big just happened? Here's the reason people don't feel bad for Johnny Sauter. It's because he's what, like 40 years old. He's been around. Obviously, he wants to keep racing and could still be competitive. But you know, he's 40 years old. He's had his time in the spotlight. You know, he's taken away from young drivers. Like, the truck series is supposed to be about young developing drivers. That's why I assume fans don't seem to care that much that Johnny Sauter just got screwed out of a ride. I still think it's wrong, and I just wanted to make sure I brought attention to it so that people realize what just happened here. If GMS makes this decision, you know, back in December, I'm disappointed, but I'm not that disappointed because it's still December. There's still a lot of empty rides out there. Still, people are still trying to set up their lineups before the 2019 season starts. But the problem is that they wait until now, mid-January, again, a month before the season starts, to make this decision. Like just the problem is just like, where's Johnny Sauter going to go now? Like, most seats have already been filled because, you know, the silly season and all that's been going on for a while now. It just seems really wrong for GMS to make this decision the way and when they did. But I'm just surprised nobody's really talking about that. Like, I lost a lot of respect for whoever's running that team. Like, that is very sleazy. That all being said, I'm happy for Brett Moffitt, and I hope Brett Moffitt can continue the success he saw last year on a new team. I hope he can continue to do that going forward. I think he's going to be a championship contender. To be honest, I kind of hope he wins it again. Just proves that he's a real deal. But I feel bad for Johnny Sauter. And I just feel like, you know, people need to be aware of what just happened here. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. It blew me away how so many people just seem to, you know, let it completely slide that Sauter got screwed out of a ride. Like, that's not okay. You know, NASCAR still has a problem where you need a lot of money from, you know, outside sponsors to race, and that hasn't changed just because Brett Moffitt got a new ride. Like, this issue's still there. So just wanted to throw that out there. It's not like me to be so negative on this show, but I'm actually surprised by how positive people are being for once. I guess I'm now the one that's super down to earth all of a sudden. Like, this is really weird. This is shoes on the other foot now. I'm the grumpy one. How is this happening? Now, another brief thing I want to talk about before this episode ends. I mainly just wanted to make this quick episode to talk about the big news this morning with Brett Moffitt going over to that new truck. But I also want to talk about a new sponsorship update we saw today. Ryan Newman and Roush Fenway Racing officially unveiled the new Oscar Mayer paint scheme sponsorship for the 2019 season. And now the reason this is significant is because this sponsor is actually increasing the number of races that they're going to be sponsoring this next season. Last year, they only sponsored one race. It was the Southern 500 with Matt Kenseth. But this next year, they're now going to be sponsoring multiple select races for Ryan Newman. So nice to see a sponsor increase their involvement. It's also worth noting that both Performance Plus and Wyndham Rewards will be staying with Roush Fenway on that 6 car. So Roush Fenway's actually got a pretty good amount of sponsorship on both their cars next year. That'll be good to see. Might help that team possibly turn things around. Who knows? A new driver, some new sponsors, you know, some added sponsorship is all good and great. We'll see what can happen. But I thought I'd throw that out there because it's always good to report on some good sponsorship news. Yeah. Speaking of sponsorship, tomorrow, I think tomorrow morning, Jimmy Johnson's going to unveil his new Ally Financial paint scheme for next season. I'm probably not going to be awake to see it. I'm going to be going out of town tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to be able to make an episode either. But they did release this little teaser clip right here. Like, oh, here's a little teaser of what the paint scheme's going to look like. And now all I can say from that little teaser clip is I don't really think I'm going to like the way this car looks, to be honest. Ally's logo, the colors are like purple and pink. I was hoping for a mostly purple car. That little clip makes it look like the cars are going to be almost all black with more like pink highlights, which, I don't know, black, pink, and neon yellow. I don't really know if I'm going to like the way this car looks. Obviously, we'll have to wait till the full thing to be unveiled. It'll be unveiled tomorrow, I suppose, and we'll see it then. I'm hoping for more purple. I like purple race cars, and I was kind of excited when I heard that Ally was sponsoring that car because I was excited to see what a purple 48 would look like. I don't know, this little teaser video, I'm not sure if we're going to love this. But at the same time, I didn't love his Lowe's car last year when I first saw it, but by the end of the year, it kind of grown on me. So maybe it'll be that type of thing. Maybe it'll be an acquired taste as the season goes by. But needless to say, it's exciting. He's got a new full-time sponsor for the next 2 years. So whatever we see tomorrow, we better get used to seeing that on that 48 car for a while. Anyway, you guys, that's all the big news I want to talk about in this episode here today. I wasn't planning on doing an episode today, but after the big news with Moffitt coming out this morning, I figured I should make a follow-up to yesterday's episode. So glad I did. Hopefully you all enjoyed watching. Thank you all so much for the support. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, those links are down below. If you want to buy your own Out of the Groove t-shirt, that's also down there in the description. I also have a P.O. box if you want to send me some cool stuff. I opened the mail in yesterday's episode, so that was really cool. Send me something cool, and I might show it off and shout you out in an upcoming Out of the Groove episode. So be sure to check that out. And of course, thank you to our Patreon supporters. Shout out Michael Harrison at GWiz of the Stars, Mentally Defective, SelfishGifts.com, Cameron James Ticemore, and the rest of these amazing supporters. Thank you all so much for contributing to the show directly, helping the show improve, helping it grow, and really you guys inspire me to work harder and harder every single day to make this show and make this series as great as it possibly can be. So thank you so much for helping out. As always, thank you everyone for your support. I'll be back probably after the weekend. I'm probably not going to have any videos up this weekend, but keep an eye out. You never know. I kind of like to surprise myself with when I'm going to upload. So keep an eye out, but if I don't see you until Monday, hopefully you have a great weekend, and I'll see you then.